Time for pizza here. Nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. All right. Fed decision today. Big day. Big day. Um, so they raised rates 25 basis points. Just happened. It's 203 right now. And that makes sense. I mean, that's what the market predicted. That's what they're going to do. Jerome Powell is consistent in terms of he does what the market expects. No surprises. No surprises from Mr. Market. I mean, it makes no sense. Why would you raise rates 25 basis points when there's a banking crisis? But I guess that's what the point is. They're trying to say, hey, look, there is no banking crisis because we raised rates 25 basis points. Yeah, I guess so. It makes no sense. All right. Well, anyway, that's what they did. They raised rates 25 basis points. Now, I've been getting killed because I've been short this market while it's been going up. I am listening to CNBC right now. Get the first take on it from the experts. So Bob Pisani on CNBC is making a good point right now. The Fed in their statement says that this may be the last rate hike and makes almost no mention of the banking crisis. Market's not going to like that. They might want clarity here today. And it sure doesn't look from the statement like the Fed is going to give too much clarity here. A lot of people are saying the same thing right here, which makes a lot of sense to me. Why is the Fed raising rates here? Why are they continuing to be hawkish when banks are collapsing? It makes no sense. So they make no mention of the banking system, no mention of, hey, things might be getting ugly out there, so maybe we have to slow down. They don't do that. So, they keep backing themselves into these corners where, you know, if they don't want to come out and say the banking system is in trouble, but if you don't come out and say that, the market wants that certainty. It knows it's happening. Let's acknowledge it and say we have to slow down. And today they're obviously going to do the opposite. They're not going to say, oh, I mean, we'll see what he says. But the statement itself doesn't say much about it. And, makes it seem like, makes it seem like don't know. They're just not acknowledging the problem, you know? If you don't acknowledge the problem, how do you bring rates down? Which they should probably start doing now. But if they don't want to acknowledge it, they don't want to acknowledge it. Anyway, yeah. So I've been basically short this market ever since the banking crisis started. I went all the way up to, 38 one morning, but really I was at 25 basically. Now I'm down to 14. I mean, it's been ugly. It's been ugly. Yeah. The Fed keeps pumping money into this economy to save the banks. And the market, goes up because of that. When you pump money into the economy, the market goes up. So that's what's been happening. Even though we have a crisis, I mean, it's insane. I don't want to tell anyone to get short here because the timing, it's so hard to time, especially with the Fed pumping money into it. But, I mean, look at this. I mean, this is where the banking crisis started, around here. We're right back to where we were. Like it never even happened. Like it never even happened. That's crazy. And it may keep going. We may keep going higher because the Fed is pumping money in, and algos love to do the opposite of what makes sense. So, so my positions are, I have some KRE regional bank shorts expiring April 14th. I'm giving myself time on that. And then I have some SPY dead spreads. These are spreads I made thinking the market would be might be even or slightly down, sort of dead. So I sold calls at 392 and 395, but we've continued to go up, so they're not very successful. But so that's where we're at. Now Powell is going to speak at 2:30. What he says is very, very important. Banking crisis. Bit surreal. Rick Santelli. I don't agree with his politics, but his read on the market, I almost always agree with. He's saying how, does anybody really believe that this banking crisis is just about the banks? No, there is some sort of systemic nastiness occurring right now, you know? There's something ugly out there. And it's probably something very deep and hard to fix. And he also says there's so many things for the Fed to talk about here, which there is. There's inflation and how they should stop raising rates, and the banking crisis and what's actually occurring. And it looks like from the statement they may try and avoid these topics. The market is not going to like it if Powell tries to avoid the topics. Mm. Wow. What the market's going to want to hear from Powell today is that there is a crisis and that they're going to slow down. I just don't think the market is going to like it today if Powell comes out and says everything is fine. You know, banks are fine. You know, and because of that, we've raised rates again because inflation is our main goal and the economy is just fine. If he says that today, I don't think the market's going to like that because that's just adding uncertainty. The least uncertain path would be saying there is a banking crisis, we almost certainly have to slow down. basically, if I had to break it down, the market is going to like it if he's focusing on financial stability and the banking crisis and how that's going to affect policy. And the market's not going to like it if he's sort of tries to paper over the banking crisis and say inflation is still the main target. That's it, basically. Hmm. That's my read. I'm going to add Carvana onto my list because one of my friends is texting me about it. He's long Carvana, which I think is insane. But whatever, hey, Fed's pumping money into the economy. Why not be long? I mean, we've been going up, right? That seems to be the thinking a lot of people have. We've gone from 380 up to 400. Why not get long? I just think that's crazy. You can't be long here. You might not want to be short either. I mean, considering the Fed is pumping money into the economy, considering the Fed seems to be backstopping everything with printing money in QE, maybe you don't want to be short either, but you can't be long when we have a banking crisis and a potential financial meltdown brewing, and the market is exactly where we started when we found out about these things. I mean, so you can't be long here. You can't. The algos might want to go long. Poor traders might want to go long, but this is a very clear, something bad is happening. Trying to time getting short is difficult. Timing is always difficult, but timing is always tough, but this is not an opportunity to get long and make money. It's just not. I mean, with where we are right now, SPY 400, your risk reward, think about it for a second. How much higher can we go, even with the Fed pumping money in? We've got a disaster brewing. The Fed still wants to fight inflation. Maybe we can go to 410, maybe 420 at most, and it would be tough to get there. Tough. Algos might help you, but you're going to have news stories and bank failures fighting you the entire way. It will be a slog to get up there, if you can. And your downside risk, I mean, we're looking at a downside risk that's like SPY 320, like an 80-point downside risk. I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight, but when you have a crisis occurring and liquidity starts drying up, which is exactly what's happening, things can fall fast and ugly. For instance, if Powell says the wrong thing today, on the upside, again, maybe you get 10 points, maybe 20 if you're lucky in the next few days, which is a real stretch of the imagination. But if Powell says the wrong things in terms of, stability isn't a problem and we're not going to backstop things anymore and inflation is our only concern, which he's not going to do, but it's possible. If he did that, this market would crash to 320 probably before the end of the week. Well, probably before the end of next week. So yeah, so that's where we're at. I can't see getting long here. And if you get long, you may make a quick buck on the money being pumped into the economy, but how long is that going to last for? I just don't see it. Don't see the long play here. So yeah, he's going to start speaking soon. I think if there was one word to sum up what the market wants here, it's certainty. Markets want to know what's going on with the banks. Markets want to know what Fed policy is moving forward. Where is the Fed's emphasis? What are they think? They want clarity. Clarity. If he comes out here and he's vague and he doesn't give any policy clarity and he papers over the banking issues by saying everything's fine, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, that's going to be a problem for markets. All right, let's see what he does. I currently have KRE puts and I sold SPY calls, which is basically being short SPY. Here comes Powell. He's talking about the banks right now. Fed took decisive action, he says, to fix banks. All depositors are safe. Ample liquidity. Prepared to use all their tools to keep banking safe. Inflation remains too high. Strongly committed to bringing inflation down to 2%. Yikes. Yikes. All right. Got some 401 puts expiring tomorrow. He says GDP is sinking, which GDP is basically at 0%. But labor force participation and wage growth are still a problem. Labor demand substantially exceeds supply of workers. Inflation remains well above 2%. Sure sounds like he's focusing on inflation. Bearish. Bearish. People want to hear about financial stability, not inflation. market does not want to hear about inflation. Well, he tried to walk the line, basically focused mostly on inflation, but had a brief acknowledgement that the banking problems might slow him down. It's nice he acknowledged that. I mean, he sort of had to. But his emphasis on inflation, mostly, I don't think the market's going to like that. getting crushed here. I should just get out of everything, honestly. This market does not want to go lower. It just doesn't. Boy, oh boy. No, yeah, this market does not want to go lower. All right, I am out of the SPY puts I just bought. I just gotta exit now. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I'm out of everything SPY. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's emphasizing inflation here. That's a problem. I don't want to exit my bank puts. I mean, nothing he said is good for banks. while stressing that these weaknesses are not systemic. This was an outlier event. Boy, he's doing a pretty good job of reassuring that the banking crisis is nothing. I see no rate cuts this year, Powell says. We just don't. That's what he said. This is a bubble. Exactly. now that we're heading lower, I'm getting short again. I mean, this was a muddled meeting. This was a muddled meeting. All right, so what Powell is saying is not giving any sort of certainty to this market. It's really not. I mean, it's really not. This is a very muddled message from him, saying, on the one hand, we don't see a problem, inflation is our main goal, but on the other hand, we may slow down because the banking crisis may act as a natural sort of rate hike. But we don't see us dropping rates at all either. And the banks are fine, but the banking crisis may slow down. Just which is it? Which is it? So, honestly, in summation, I think he's doing exactly what he shouldn't have done, which is come out here and give a muddled message. He's trying to do it both ways, that inflation is our main goal, we don't see any problems, but also the banking crisis may allow us to slow down rates. So that's it. I gotta go pick up my kids. In summation, I think he's doing exactly what he shouldn't have done here. Sending a mixed message. And I cost myself 3 points by getting out of it at the top because it was scaring me. But now we're starting to see the market react the way it should have. That this mixed message is bad. And I've got 400 puts expiring in 3 days. So, let's see what happens. I think he gave a mixed message here. Market's not going to like a mixed message. All right, time for pizza. Nothing to hide, nothing to hide.